Hi guys, it's Becky and it is Star Wars Day. It is May the 4th and you guys may have noticed that I'm a giant nerd. I have a batleth on the wall behind me. I have a starship tattoo that includes the Millennium Falcon. And today is May the 4th, so I wanted to make some Rebel Alliance earrings using some of my craft wire. I just got this magenta craft wire from Softflex. I got it in actually several gauges. I've got it in 24, 18, 22, which I use a lot. I already had a 22 gauge spool, so I got a second one when I got this too. Oh, and 20 gauge. So I want this to have like some stability, so that's why I'm going with 18 gauge for this, but 20 gauge might work as well. I don't know that I would go any lower than that because we want this shape to remain the same when we're forming our little Rebel Alliance symbol there. Some of the tools that I'm going to be using are some flush cutters, these tweezer nose pliers. I find that I get a much sharper bend when I use these for bending. So I've been using these a lot more. You could also use chain nose pliers if you have them, and they're really great. I'm going to be using some round nose pliers, but if you've got 6-step bail making pliers, you can use those as well. I'm not going to be using those for shaping my wire though. For shaping my wire, I'm just going to be using this 35 millimeter photo tube. You can use anything that's the size that you want though. Some other options might be like a washi tape roll, these things that come around the outside of these the craft wire. That's about the right size to be able to do a shape with. So I mean, you can use pretty much anything that you have lying around that's the right size to do this with. You don't have to have specialized tools, but I'm going to be using this for my shaping. We have two different curves. We've got the outside curve. So this is going to be my outside curve. And then for inside curve, I just have this tube that my some of my beading needles came in, but like anything that's thicker than the last step on the 6-step bail making pliers will work. Sharpies are great for this. This tube with Toho beads, bead tubes might work if you've got those. Something that is a smaller circle than your larger circle. You want, because you need to be able to fit 2 of these inside the bigger one. So that's what we're going to be doing with these. And then the beads that I'm using, I've got these 8 millimeter bicones and 4 millimeter pearls that came in a Viva Magenta bead kit. That this was actually a bead mix that was put together for Softflex Company by Jesse James Beads. But you could find these individually somewhere else or in a different kind of bead kit. But I really just wanted to have this large bicone. I mean, any 4 millimeter beads would work for this as well. But if you've got a larger bicone, that's what is making our top part of our Rebel Alliance symbol. So let's get started. I'm gonna pull off some wire. I think I'm going with that one. I used about 14 inches. See, that's 12 inches across here. Yeah, a little bit more than that, about 14 inches. I'm fine with having extra. I'm gonna just warm it up a little bit before I pull it off so it bends better and it smooths it out. Okay, so let's get to shaping. You warm it up a little bit, right? And then I'm gonna find about the middle. It's okay if one end is shorter than the other, but I'm gonna just shape it around this tube and bring each end a little bit past there. And that is my circle. All right, you notice that it's a little bit smaller than this one over here. That's fine because as part of our shaping, it will expand some. All right, so I want about where they meet in the middle, and I'm going to make a sharp bend down towards the circle. And I'm not going to sharpen that bend up yet, not until after I've made my other one. I'm going to find the spot where that meets here, and I'm going to make a bend that way. So that's the start of it. Now I want to sharpen up this bend, and I'm going to do that with these I'm just pushing this corner in here and then turning. Here, I'll show you with this one. So I've got a grip on the inside part of this, and then I've got this just pushed against my finger. Just this part here, not the whole circle, because I don't want to deform my circle. But that's going to be bent anyway, so I'm going to move it a little bit out of the way. So I'm just going to give these a little squish to sharpen up that curve a little bit more. Like that. Okay. So now that we've got our outer circle, and it's not all the way pushed out to where it's going to be, but it will be. So now that we've got our outer circle, let's form our inner curves. Let's start with this one. All right. I want all of this to be kind of curvy. But also a little bit further in here, so. Okay, I like that curve. I'm pleased with that curve. That's a good curve. All right, let's do the other one. Curve. I'm just moving this down. No, I need this to curve more that way, and this needs to open up a little bit more. Okay, yes. This is decidedly good. All right, now I want to keep these curves the way that they are. I don't want them to get deformed as I finish working on this. So I am going to use my bench block and the nylon hammer. And I'm using nylon because I don't want it to remove the coating, this beautiful magenta color. But I also want to just work hard in these curves a little bit so they stay put where they're supposed to be. So I'm going to be real gentle. I'm not going to do a ton of hammering, just a little bit of hammering. And so this might be a little noisy. I'm very carefully not hammering this part because we're going to be bending this. I just want to hammer the curves and my point. All right. Now, as we work through this little overlap here, it will move, so I'm okay with it right now where it's at. But I want to move this one a little bit further this way, like so. So it just crosses there. And then I'm going to move this, pinching right here in the middle where it's at, over here, so it's at about the same angle. All right, and I'm going to make my first bend in this one about, here, let's compare it with this and see if we can't get it to about the same spot. All right, yeah, let's do it right here. So I'm pinching this right here, and I'm just gonna bend this in this angle. I'm going to take one of my 4mm beads, I'm going to pop this on the end, and then I'm going to bend this again back towards the center. Always be careful when you're bending right next to a bead, because it is possible to break them. All right. Now where this meets, right here in the center, I'm going to grip this and bend this up and out of the way, like that. This is kind of at a weird angle, so I'm just going to give this a smoosh. All right. So that's the first side done. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. By bending approximately the same place, right there. All right. It's getting in the way. It's fine. Let's put this on here. And then I'm going to bend it back down just like the other one. Again, carefully when it's right next to a bead. All right. And this is the spot where I'm going to figure out where it intersects with it. I'm just going to give it a little bend up like that. And then I'm going to pinch this one in my pliers. Right here like this. Start bending this around that end. And I'm pinching this end so that it doesn't shorten it while I'm wrapping, because it is very possible to take that over there. All right, I'm gonna cut off my excess right now, and then I'm gonna tighten up this coil. go. I'm just going to do a little adjusting. Just a little adjusting. I'm going to tuck in this edge of the cut wire. All right, and so I've got this right here that I can put on the top. This will help hold this in place. And then I'm going to give this a little bend, like so. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to bend this over the top, cut off my extra. I'm making a simple loop, by the way. Then close it up. And this is what I can attach my ear wires with. And so I'm just going to make some ear wires real quick on camera, because that way you can see how I like to make my favorite ear wires. I'm going to get that loop a little more centered. So ear wires, I like 22 gauge wire for my ear wires, and I'm going to go ahead and use this 22 gauge magenta wire. I'm going to cut off about 3 inches of wire, 2 of these. I'm going to make sure that the ends are cut flush with my flush cutters. Then where are my 6-step bail making pliers? Because this is what I use these for. Well, one of the things that I use these for. I use them for a lot of things, actually. And I'm going to use the smallest loop on my 6-step bail making pliers and just form this around there. Oop, they're on there pretty tight. And then after I do that, see how it makes kind of like a P or a Q, depending on how you're looking at it. I'm going to have that P pointing toward the second largest loop, like that. And then I'm going to wrap it around my largest loop on my 6-step bail making pliers. That makes a nice little curve. I'm going to keep holding them together. And about here where the loop is, I'm going to make just a little bend. A little bit of a bend. And then cut off my excess. All right, and then to finish these, I will hammer them so that they don't deform while you have earrings on. And then I use a little metal file to file off the edge here. You can use a burr grinder if you have one, but I'm just gonna, again, use the silicone because this is coated wire. And I'm just giving it a little tap on the curve just to work harden it and keep it from deforming when it's in my ear. Just a little tap, just a love tap. All right, now I can put these on my earring. And save the galaxy. Thank you for joining me for Star Wars Day. And may the Force be with you. Bye.